Corporal punishment should be banned for the livelihood of children and the sanity of parents. Students from all walks of life are being affected by corporal punishment even today. In 1977, corporal punishment was addressed by the Supreme Court in Ingram v. Wainwright. The focus of the case was on Drew Junior High School, where two students, Ingram and Andrews, attended. They received harsh paddling on the arms, causing severe damage. The court ruled the case not in violation of cruel and unusual punishment. Despite contrary belief, not much has changed in the U.S. today. Principal David Nixon of Calhoun Elementary in South Carolina said,
"This is the worst part of my job."
Many advocates of corporal punishment claim,
"It is an essential means of establishing a teacher's authority over his or her pupils."
The need to feel dominant over our children is taking a drastic toll on our youth. In a study conducted at the National Center for Children at Columbia University concluded the use of corporal punishment to impact a child's development in as many as 11 ways. Those who see it as a good use of discipline often use the Bible as backing, with lines such as,
"Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die."
People see corporal punishment as acceptable. Although the Bible does state that, people still need to realize the harmful effects in development that are being caused. There are a number of other ways to handle discipline than physical abuse. Throughout one's childhood, kids are often taught to use words rather than violence. Adults are contradicting this lesson by striking instead of speaking as a means of dealing with an issue. Like many other problems in the world, corporal punishment is not fair. The physical discipline displayed in corporal punishment is race and sex related. In schools where corporal punishment is practiced, black students were paddled twice as often as white students. Men and women have given their lives to fight for equal rights, and even today in schools there are children getting unfairly beaten. School disciplinarians are putting their own beliefs on race into their occupations. Not only are black students being more frequently targeted than whites in corporal punishment, boys are getting paddled more often than girls. There is no denying boys are more likely to get in trouble than girls, but boys are getting paddled 3 times as much as girls in schools nationwide. On top of the discrimination corporal punishment exemplifies, it is also subjective to handicaps. Every day, kids are not the only ones who are feeling the effects of corporal punishment. The mentally disabled share their struggle. Disabilities are some of the hardest things to overcome in our society, yet students with disabilities are more likely to face physical discipline than able-bodied students. Living with a handicap is unfathomable. The struggle to get out of bed every morning is absurd, and yet school principals still beat them. Disabled students cannot control most tendencies they display, and yet they are more likely to be physically punished. This is an extremely disturbing fact. We as a society have come so far, yet disabled kids are still getting beaten in schools. The reality that students are being subjected to physical abuse is going to lead our youth down the wrong road. Living in America, many take the right to an education for granted. Millions of people around the world do not get the same opportunity as we do in the U.S. Corporal punishment is pushing students away from school. Teachers and administration should be looking for innovative ways to keep kids wanting to go to school. Instead, more than 200,000 students in 2006 to 2007 experienced a form of corporal punishment in their schools. Corporal punishment, all in all, is a horrid and offensive practice. Thousands of students are affected by corporal punishment in the United States each year. The abuse received as a form of punishment causes far more than physical damage. It affects children emotionally and psychologically, leaving them permanently scarred. Corporal punishment should be banned for the sanity of parents and the livelihood of children. The youth is the future, and corporal punishment is tarnishing our children. Corporal punishment must end now or affect us forever.
Did you know in nearly half the states, teachers are permitted to hit their students? And according to a report today from human rights advocates, nearly 250,000 kids got hit during a recent school year. What's especially troubling, a disproportionate number of minorities and kids with disabilities were on the receiving end of the corporal punishment. Here's Kelly Wallace.
Hey, baby Dickie.
Heather Porter couldn't believe it when her son Cameron, who was 3 at the time, told her he'd been spanked with a paddle at his preschool outside Houston.
I just feel like I couldn't protect him. You know, I don't even spank him with a paddle at home.
According to a new report, boys like Cameron are 3 times as likely to be paddled in school as girls. Of the 250,000 kids physically disciplined across the country, African-American girls were hit more than twice as often as white girls, and kids with disabilities and Native Americans were also more likely to be hit. The report's authors say corporal punishment creates a violent school environment and is not conducive to learning.
So when you compound that with students that already have obstacles to getting a good education, like African-American students or special education students, that really creates a double-edged sword.
Corporal punishment is against the law in schools in a majority of the country, but remains legal in 21 states from Wyoming to Florida.
And it often takes the form of paddling, with a teacher or administrator using a paddle like this one. Opponents say it's a form of abuse, but supporters disagree and say it works.
You know, they may think about doing something, but when they think about corporal punishment, that fear will make them say, no, I don't think I'm going to do that right now.
There's been little research done on the effectiveness of corporal punishment in schools, but plenty of studies have shown it doesn't work in the home.
It makes them more aggressive, more delinquent, it makes them have more mental health problems, and some of these outcomes even last until adulthood.
Heather Porter's son now goes to another preschool. She hopes the paddling he received will be his last. Kelly Wallace, CBS News, New York.